Governor's Cup and keeping it in Columbia, Missouri. They were marching around, parading around Faurot Field with it because it is theirs. All right, welcome in. It's SEC Football Final. It's great to have you with us, Dari, Doring, and Watson. Let's start with overriding thoughts of the day before we start diving into some of these highlights. Beat up?
Man, today was going to be about revenge in Norman. It was going to be about Jackson Arnold coming back with his new football team, going to Norman and kind of reacting to some of the ghost of the past, and it didn't quite work out for him. Really, really impressed, I think, by Oklahoma, especially defensively, and we will get into it, but also Jackson Arnold. Yeah. I mean, the way he showed up, the way he dealt with the boos, the emotion of the day, came out and executed a fantastic game that I had circled on my list for this week.
I hate to do it, but for the second straight week, I'm going to talk about moral victories. And moral victories don't matter a whole lot, but I gained respect today for what Auburn did. You talked about Jackson Arnold going into that environment, gained respect for him. How about South Carolina, too? We left them for dead. The battle that they showed what's possible with Lenore Sellers when you actually protect him. Now, they didn't do it all night, but I thought there were some good things in losses that can help some teams going forward.
Let's start diving in to some of these highlights, and we start with that game in Norman. SEC Nation, Marty and McGee there for the weekend, celebrating 2 3-0 squads, and, of course, the return of Jackson Arnold, both coaches before the game.
He addressed the offense. He's very mature. He's not going to let that be about him or his emotions. It's about, man, how many plays can he execute at a high level.
You're looking at schemes, you're looking at effort, you're looking at execution, physicality. It's nameless, faceless, I'll be very honest.
Well, they were aggressive on defense, and so was the crowd. Aggressive in general, sharing their sentiment with the guy that spent 2 years there, and he wanted more.
I mean, he gave his heart to these people, and they're booing him like that.
I disagree with the tactic, man. I wouldn't have booed him. I would not have booed him. Jackson Arnold fires from his own end, complete to Cam Coleman, who had his way with the true freshman cornerback Cortland Guillory.
Sorry, this was an offense that had only 7 15-yard catches on the season. They were aggressive throwing the ball down the field today.
Yeah, everybody was going to need a little bit of a break in field position to be able to generate some offense early, and Oklahoma got it there with the punter miscue, actually a bad snap. Oklahoma gets it, and that, Isaiah Satania, you might ask yourself how he got open. He is coming off the field as though he's exiting, and then you fast forward a bit, you see him lined up just inside the sideline, just in the field of play, and he's uncovered. Goes for a touchdown, and Hugh Freeze, rightfully angry about it. The league has just submitted a statement as we do this show live. I will read that to you on the other side of the highlight. Meanwhile, Cam Coleman again, touchdown. The young freshman will learn from. He won't see another receiver probably this good, but Coleman was outstanding.
Oh, but look at the body control, and I love the way Jackson Arnold delivered the football to the back shoulder high for his tall receiver.
R. Mason Thomas, oh, hello, old friend.
Sorry, that was 50 seconds into his play.
That's right. This was 2 plays into the game for him because he was suspended for the first half after a targeting against Temple, and that was his first sack of the season. 16-10 score, 4th and 11. Look at Jackson. What a play by the former Sooner, now Tiger. Gets the first down. 1st and goal. Malcolm Simmons. And that gives Auburn the lead.
A couple 4th down conversions, one by penalty there on a pass interference, got him down in striking range, and they took advantage.
Oklahoma, though, comes right back. Mateer to Isaiah Satania, 31 yards. Initially ruled incomplete, but then overturned. 1st and goal. Mateer, you know he can do this. Touchdown. Sooners go for 2, don't get it. 22-17. And then one more chance for Jackson, but that Oklahoma defense just a bit too much.
3 plays in a row here. Get pressure on Jackson Arnold, get a sack there, lay it on top of him, and then they cap it off with this.
Yeah, how apropos is this?
See?
Watch R. Mason, what he does to the right tackle.
Beat him up.
Throw him down.
And a chip that was there as well.
Brett Venables and company. How about 10 sacks? That is a school record. Oklahoma 24, Auburn 17. Again, there is controversy that marred this game to a degree. More on that in a moment. Meanwhile, John Mateer, 271 through the air, and the big touchdown run to give Oklahoma the lead.
We didn't put ourselves in the best position, but we got it done, and that's what it's all about, coming together in the fourth quarter. That's what we train for. So.
Your defense with 10 sacks today. That sets a school record. What is it like watching that group from the sideline?
I mean, it's real fun to watch from the sideline, but it's not very fun to practice against. So we go against it all the time. That's an amazing group. They work so hard, and they deserve every bit of it.
What I already told them in the locker room, and we rehashed Monday morning, is, hey, we lost a tough one on the road in a very good conference against, I don't know, a highly ranked team, and we didn't play our best and had a chance to win it. So we kind of have a saying now, it's what's our response? Good. Let's play the next one. And you've proven that you're a good football team to go toe-to-toe with that team that's going to win a lot of football games in their place. And, 13 penalties. We did take care of the football, but you can't have 13 penalties and special teams play like it did and put us in the hole all night long against that defense.
Okay. Auburn fans are going to want to hear it. I need to get it out here right now. Late Saturday night, the SEC office released this about the Satania touchdown. And I can read it over if we want to play it again, guys, as it's happening. NCAA Football Rule 9-2, Article 2, labeled Unfair Tactics, with paragraph stating, no simulated replacements or substitutions may be used to confuse opponents. No tactic associated with substitutes or the substitution process may be used to confuse opponents. This includes any hideout tactic with or without a substitution. Goes on to say the officiating crew did not properly interpret the action as a hideout tactic. If properly officiated, the second down play should have resulted in a team unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of 15 yards assessed from the previous spot. Appropriate accountability will be applied without additional comment. Costly mistake by that officiating crew, no doubt.
Costly mistake. It also confuses me why they even have that in the playbook if they know it's an illegal play. Like, why is OU trying to?
This is Exhibit A. Exhibit A. I mean, because they know the referees at some point may not find it, and it's too little for Auburn fans when they. I mean, we've as people who play football, we've been on the other side of that where something illegal happens. It shouldn't be that way, and it's unfortunate. But it wasn't just this play. There was also, a fumble/scoop score that could have gone the other way for Auburn, and it didn't. And so, really unfortunate. But you mentioned it not taking away from the football game. I think it did, but we can still look at this game and say, wow, Auburn came to play. And Oklahoma, especially defensively, I mean, they pressured Jackson Arnold 46% of his passes. They played well in a lot of key areas today.
I'm glad you mentioned Jackson Arnold because I have been championing him the whole time about him and what he means to this team, what he's going to be at the end of the year. He did not look sharp early in the ballgame. 8 of 19 to start the game, but then got going 16 of his next 17, including 4 of 4 on that game-winning drive where they go right down the field, 75 yards in 6 plays. And, oh, by the way, the 2 he didn't throw, he ran, including the touchdown. So John Mateer is the real deal. His stats are not eye-popping today. You're not going to be, blown away by that. But the way that he kind of willed his team to victory, I thought this was a great testament to both these quarterbacks that were great leaders out there on the field. Things didn't always go well, but they both kept battling today.
I do want to say this, too. Nobody's going to say that Oklahoma won because of the officiating, or should they? They played really well. Yeah. There were some other missed calls, a pass interference that should have been called late against Oklahoma on the goal line. Auburn ended up scoring on the drive. You hate to see a few bad calls happen in a game like this of this magnitude, a lot on the line. It is what it is. Now, you look at it, it's not, and that's not something Auburn fans are going to want to hear, and Oklahoma fans wouldn't either if it went the other way. That defense, though, that defensive line, we knew it would be nasty, and it is. There's conversations now. How long has it been since Oklahoma's put a line on the field like that?
And the thing is, they got pressure on Jackson Arnold largely without the blitz. They did it with the standard rush.
And 8 of those sacks came on the standard rush.
Exactly, and they did it with, one-on-one matchups. R. Mason Thomas, you see there, with the line games in the interior line. They got Auburn's offensive line confused, and they had them in bad angles. And so if they're able to get this type of pressure on quarterbacks without even using the blitz, they can keep guys in coverage. Really, really tremendous. But look at this football game. It was the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, Oklahoma played complimentary football. They get a rushing touchdown. They get a field goal. They get a safety from the defense. They get 11 points compared to a single touchdown by Auburn. That's what made the difference in a very, very close, highly contested football game.
127 yards on 9 catches for Isaiah Satania, his first career 100-yard receiving game as well. All right, so Oklahoma stays unbeaten. They have a bye next week. Auburn goes to A&M. How about the Mayor's Cup? Battle of Columbia's. South Carolina visiting Missouri. South Carolina, of course, coming off the loss to Vandy, where they lost Lenora Sellers in that game. Sellers back and starting for the Gamecocks. Meanwhile, Missouri and the offense keeps plugging along. Bo Pribula. Oh, look at the catch by the big tight end, Brett Norfleet.
You know who it is. Old, reliable Brett Norfleet making plays in the passing game, and you're going to see him in the run game.
Tell me who this guy is, though.
Danny Manning. Josh Manning.
Joshua. There you go.
I mean, they just keep rolling guys out there that we haven't seen a lot from, which is a testament to this roster.
Speaking of which, Vandravius Jacobs from Lenora Sellers.
We wondered who was going to step up. We didn't know who they had in the cupboard. Lenora Sellers plays, finds Jacobs. You're going to see another guy, finding playmakers in big spots in this football game.
How about Gerald Kilgore on the INT?
Big time. Big time play going up there in High Point in the football.
That might have been like one of the best catches in the entire game.
And then Brian Rowe just beats everybody down the football field for the touchdown.
Freshman.
They lead this thing 14-9, third quarter. Sellers for Jacobs. Man, does he make that throw look easy.
When you keep him clean, he was only sacked
that's a good point.
a few times. That's when he can throw those deep balls.
Well, here's one of those few times Zion Young gets it.
Yeah, 5 times.
Yeah.
Yes.
The times they do let him have time to throw, he can be
He's money.
They settle for a field goal. Guys, this guy may be becoming my favorite player.
No question.
Ahmad Hardy.
B-Dub was on him before all of us.
Yep.
Tried to tell you. I tried to told you.
Come
He's
on.
like an old school running back, man.
5 plays later, he is hardy to tackle. Bad joke. I mean, still doesn't go down.
Nope.
Running people over. Went for 250 last week. Ahmad Hardy with another big effort.
And it's not like they just have him. Jamal Roberts is equally as talented.
138 yards for Hardy on 22 carries. Who'd you just say?
Jamal Roberts.
I mean, he is not as thick and powerful looking, but he's similarly difficult to tackle.
They combined to average carrying the football today for 6 yards a carry, man. It's impressive what not only they do, but the offensive line and opening up those holes in that outside zone scheme.
2 minutes remain. Roberts for 15 puts the Tigers in field goal range, and Blake Craig is out. Their normal kicker, Robert Meyer, comes in. He's a true freshman. And how about that to end this thing?
Everybody doing their job, right? That's what we're talking about. Everybody stepping up when they have an opportunity to make a play. It's impressive what Missouri's doing.
No question. You're right. I mean, from the 5 sacks to the Pribula to the Hardy to their ability to run it for 285 and 2 touchdowns, 29-20 Tigers stay unbeaten.
Coach, you told me the team that would run the football better in the fourth half would be the one that would win. What made your group successful?
Yeah, tough teams run the ball and stop the run. We did that tonight. Really proud of this group. This is a heck of a fight tonight, and our team had the will to win in the fourth quarter.
There's been so much talk about Lenora Sellers, especially after what he did against you guys last year. What made this group successful against him down the stretch?
Well, I think we were able to affect him with pressure. I think we were able to make him hold the ball a little bit. And ultimately, we had the ball a lot offensively. I'm really proud of the run game tonight.
Tonight was your first SEC test. What did you think of overall about the way your group responded?
I'm not going to give out grades. Last coach did that ain't going so well. MIZ.
Thank you, Coach.
Look at him. How about it, huh? Raise that thing high. Missouri, big win there over South Carolina. They're just complete, right? I mean, does that describe?
Oh, definitely. They are complete. They are a complete team. We've been talking about it, but he mentioned the run game. 285 yards to -9. I thought that Missouri owned the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. There were times when South Carolina played well, but the differentiation today, 3rd downs, 7 of 13 for Missouri, just 3 of 11 for South Carolina. And then red zone, every time Missouri got down there, they finished with touchdowns just about. But South Carolina had to settle for 2 trips with field goals. And at the end of the day, this was one you couldn't afford to not get the 7 when you get to that part of the field.
-9 rushing yards, the fewest amount of yards Missouri has allowed since 2009. I don't know that I've ever seen -9 for an entire game, but it was not only that, and you mentioned the third down, CD, but they forced South Carolina in the third and long 6 times, only allowed them to complete or convert, I should say, 1 of 6 of those times. And so the defense from Missouri was smothered on South Carolina, didn't allow South Carolina to get going. And I got to give credit to South Carolina, and we mentioned it in the highlight. They found playmakers that hadn't made plays before. That's the mark of a team that has some depth, but just too little offensively for them against a Missouri football team that is complete. And next week they play UMass, then they have a bye, and then they play Alabama. This is a football team that is trending the right direction for the playoff because, as we've talked about, their schedule is very favorable. They continue to get better. And, look, Ahmad Hardy is showing himself to be impossible to tackle.
I want to go back to what you said, too. I mentioned third down, but you're right. They won on first and second down as well because South Carolina's average yards to gain on third down was 12.5 as opposed to Missouri's at just 5.8. Staying ahead of the chains, being able to run the football like this, not taking negative plays. This is like you say, a complete team. They play complementary football to one another as well, and they don't hurt themselves. South Carolina ended up having 98 yards in penalties as well. So another thing just setting themselves back.
Well, we sit here and we motor through the season, and we're excited for every Saturday. SEC fans, excited for what's coming Tuesday. Fun to try to get right on Miami. Some say might be the best team in all the land. Carson Beck 2-0 against Florida all time. Of course, that was when he was a Georgia Bulldog. Florida offense struggled early, struggled often, but we've unfortunately, CD, as you know, kind of gotten accustomed to that a little bit. Lagway in trouble, goes down on 3rd and long.
Yeah, the disappointing way to start the football game, 3 and out, and then you give the ball to Miami's offense, and they go right down the football field. Kind of a ominous kind of start, especially with the defense only having given up 2 touchdowns prior to this one.
Yeah, Shamar Brown had a pretty nice day, 18 carries, 80 yards, but was big out of the backfield. You'll see in, I would assume at some point here, 2-yard touchdown run, 7-0. Miami takes the lead. Then, Lagway. Meet Jacoby Thomas, loss of 8. Gators go into the half down 13-0 with 32 yards of offense. 3rd quarter. Jacoby Jones looking for something big in the run game, and they found it at least here.
I think they must have been drinking some Gatorade or something at halftime because, CD, they came out hot on their first drive. They go down and score on an 11-play, 80-yard drive, showing some life.
Yeah, finally.
4th and 2. 4th down conversions, key for Florida on this drive. DJ Lagway picks it up. 2 plays later, Jaden Ball, you've been begging for him to get it.
Run the ball.
That's all him.
Look at the switch of the hands and the stiff arm, extending the football momentum. All of a sudden, you hadn't done anything, but your defense has kept you in the game. It was a 2-possession game. Now you cut it to within 1 score, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
You feel even better right now.
Ensuing possession for Miami. Carson Beck picked up by Kamani McLean. Gators take over. Good field position. 3rd and 15, though, behind the sticks. Lagway to Burnell Brown, the 3rd. Gets it 3 yards shy of the 1st down. They decide to go for it. First play of the 4th quarter. TJ Abrams runs a 3-yard route.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a sophomore in there that hasn't played much in a crucial position there. I don't even know why he was playing at that point.
2nd and 6. Miami positioned to ice this thing. Shamar Brown, mentioned him, 4 catches out of the backfield, 53 yards. That was a big one. 16-yard gain. 3rd and goal. Florida's got to get a stop. Brown, one more time. Miami gets the win over Florida, 26-7. Last 2 years, this has gone to the Hurricanes and Florida offense. 141 yards on the night and unable to stop Miami when they needed to stop Miami. So, again, frustrating night for Florida. Offense is just...
It's abysmal.
What's the word? Okay.
They suffer from low T. Very little energy, very little fun, very little fight. You know, and I'm sick of watching it every single week we come in here. They give you enough to be competitive at times. The defense keeps you in the ball game, but they do nothing when it's regression. every week the offense gets worse. And I'm getting texts from my people. It's like, oh, is this the game we get that streak of scoring? 462 games, and we're worried about making it 463. The bar has been set incredibly low.
You know, I wonder at times, you know, when you see things like this, and look, the roster for Florida, you look man to man, they've got players on this football team, but they struggle to put it together. And you look at third down, they go 0 of 13 on third down. They struggle to run the football. DJ Lagway is still only completing about 50% of his passes. You mentioned the 32 yards in the first half. Well, they only had 4 rushing yards in the first half. And so, yes, offensively it is abysmal, but the defense is keeping them in football games, especially in the red zone and third down. It wasn't until the second half that Miami actually started doing anything, and the defense kept them in. But just not enough plays. And you start to think, when you see things over and over again, what's the problem? Is the problem coaching? Is it communication? Is it practice? Is it guys taking things seriously? Like what is it for Florida? That's something that they have to figure out. But I sense your frustration, not as an alum, but I sense it. But in watching it, I'm frustrated watching this football team many times because you see so much there, you see so much talent, but they're not putting it together on Saturday.
You see what's capable, right? You get an 80-yard drive that shows you, all right, why are we not doing this more? Why are we not moving guys off the line of scrimmage? The offensive line that was, supposed to be great stinks. They can't. You have one drive where you're able to move people off the line of scrimmage. Miami dominated the line of scrimmage. And really, if you look at it again, Miami's offense was able to just run the ball down Florida's defense late in the ball game. And I don't blame them because they're on the field so much. But this is not what Florida football is about. 141 yards of offense. You take away that 80-yard drive, you got 61 yards of offense the whole rest of the game. That just is unacceptable.
5-star quarterback, 12 for 23, 61 yards. That's not his numbers in a half. That's his numbers in a game, following a game of 5 interceptions. Yeah, it's not good. Okay. Let's go to Ole Miss. Jonathan got my ear and said, better days ahead for the Gators. I couldn't say that.
It's a bye week next week.
Okay, so you're
not going to lose.
Oh, that's a good point. And then Texas.
Yeah. Well.
Right? You never know. All right. Ole Miss, Tulane. Tulane's a 3-0 team. They already got 2 Power 4 wins. But they haven't seen a quarterback like Austin Simmons. What? No, like Trinidad Chambliss, who got to go. Simmons still a little banged up. I don't know whose job this is when it's both.
We can talk about this, but Chambliss has been tremendous. We knew what he could do with his legs, 112 yards rushing today. But how about the throwing ability, B-Dub? That's what's really pleased me the most.
Yeah, it's the accuracy. It's the fact that he's on time and he sets up his tight end to get dunks on the sideline.
Second quarter. But you were an understated, would you have thrown one down back in your day, B-Dub? Like, you were.
A dunk on the sideline?
You would have thrown one down.
Oh, of course. Everybody else is doing it.
Hey. Dejan Stribling there, 53 yards. Rebels back in the red zone. Oh, a little tip drill there.
Going their way.
The former Oklahoma State Cowboy. I bet he's glad he is where he is. Direct snap in. Kejuan Lacey takes that in, and it's a 20-3 Ole Miss. I don't think anybody thought this would be as easy as they made it.
I also don't think at this point in the game Jake Retzloff had completed a pass yet.
I think you're right. Incomplete on his first 9 throws. Late third, 4th and 1 for Tulane. One more defensive statement by the Rebels. Turnover on down. First play after that stop. This might have been his best throw. Chambliss to Deuce Alexander. Perfect.
It's not even just the ability to make the throw. It's the confidence and letting it go on time and trusting his wide receiver Alexander to make that play in traffic.
4 for 94 today for Alexander.
307 and 2 touchdown passes for Chambliss. Rebels rolling. He's thrown now for 660 yards in 2 games at starting quarterback. He's the 4th quarterback in Ole Miss history to throw for at least 300 and run for at least 100 yards in a game, which he did, as he is indeed the
how many turnovers?
Product of our Capital One rewarding performance. He has delivered it, joining Jordan Ta'amu, Chad Kelly, and Archie Manning in this statistical feat. This was incredible. He is frankly incredible.
He's awesome. 0 turnovers in the last 2 ball games. By the way, offense 15 of 23 on third downs in those 2 games as well.
Unreal. Yeah, he's been sensational, and they host LSU in a massive game on a day of massive games next Saturday. All righty. Much more still ahead. And unfortunately, it's much more that looked like it looked a week ago for Arkansas. We will explain what went down in Memphis and Arch Manning maybe developing some confidence. It certainly would look like it if you asked that Bearcat defender. This is fun. Offense looked a lot different this time, and Arch had a bone to pick with a Sam Houston defender.
Hey, what do you think he's saying there? Like, we run this state or something like that?
Well, I don't know why you're getting all frisky with
I don't either.
FCS team.
Maybe he said something earlier. He talked about his family.
He had, without, not the penalty type, but he targeted that dude. Like, he knew where he was on the field when he started. All right, enough of that. Arch Manning. Oh, my goodness. Sam Houston was called for 4 men on the field on that play.
Totally new.
Yeah. 32-yard touchdown, Jordan Watson.
How about this throw, though? And maybe a better catch by Wingo.
Oh, yeah. Goodness.
Watch it. He's so fired up. Like, he pushes one of the coaches there. You could tell he was all amped up tonight.
And then 13 yards to Ryan Wingo. But he
needed it.
He threw freely. Yes.
Yeah, he needed it.
He threw freely, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what he's done for his entire life with the football. No short arming. No short arching.
No footsteps.
No. All right, LSU, similar situation as Texas, right? Get the offense going a little bit. Garrett Nussmeier touchdown. And then watch Nuss run. The wheels on the Nuss go around and around, perhaps?
He looks pretty healthy there.
The 10? No, he looks good.
Looks like he's having fun, too.
Yes, he is. Nussmeier, 5 carries on that. And that's a touchdown run there. Juwan Johnson, LSU up 21-zip. Now Nuss to Barry and Brown.
Nice to see him catching some balls.
Yep.
Yeah,
5 today.
5 for 54. And then he's going to find Xavier Thomas. Touchdown there. He found, my goodness, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 different players caught a pass for LSU. Bauer Sharp, tight end, 5 for 73 and a touchdown. Everybody taking care of business there. Did we see what we wanted to see? This is a closed-in question. I'm not supposed to ask those. Did we see what we wanted to see from both LSU and Texas offensively?
Yes. I mean, both were playing overmatched opponents. And so you saw clean execution. LSU, they score on 8 straight drives, 8 touchdowns on 8 straight drives after going 3 and out. You saw the passing ability of Arch Manning in terms of taking advantage of some of those deep shots, something we haven't seen before. So I don't know how much we take away from this, but you did what you needed to do against these opponents.
Well, we say that, but then last week Arch Manning had a streak where he had 10 straight incompletions, against an inferior opponent. And so I do think, from this week you see from LSU, from Texas, this is what you want as an offense. Whenever you play a team like this, you say, we're going to go out. Our plan is to score on every single drive that we have because we are not only better than that team, but we need to execute better because they're going to be tougher opponents coming down the line. And so for Arch Manning, there's a point in time in this football game where he has 12 straight completions. Excellent. For LSU, they run the football. They get 135 yards rushing. If they can get the run game going, that will benefit Nussmeier and his passing offense tremendously. And you saw other players get involved, like Barry and Brown with 5 catches, like Bauer Sharp, the touchdown. And so
you feel good about the run game, though? 135 yards on 35 carries? I mean, against this opponent?
I don't feel great about it, but I do feel like at least they're trying.
Yeah.
At least they're committed to it. You're in the SEC cellar when it comes to running the football. The only way you get out of that is by committing to the run. And so the test will be next week when you play an opponent that's not inferior, if you're willing to commit to it.
113 yards is what Texas defense gave up. That's the solid. Both
of them.
We know both of those defenses are good. What did LSU give up?
They had 30 at halftime they had given up.
Yeah, 204 is what it ended up. So satisfactory there, right? It's a matter of getting the offense to begin to catch up with the defense. We haven't seen Florida be able to do that, but I think maybe they're hopeful that these two have done that.
Saw some signs of life from South Carolina's offense today. We've seen some signs of life from Texas and from LSU. So maybe some of these quarterbacks are starting to get to the level that we expected them to be in the preseason.
All right. Let's go to the Hogs. They're in Memphis. Last 30 years, 6-0 in that city. All right. And you get a lot of Arkansas fans there. It's right on the state line. Taylor Green has been ripping it up. That really did not change, except for a couple of early interceptions. Taylon Green here to Jaden Platt, 29 yards, nearly takes it in, but his hand was out of bounds right there. All right,
Hogs involved early.
Hogs do go punch it in, 28-10, 18-point lead. Nobody in FBS had come from that many points back to win a game all season.
Sorry, how about they call pass interference here, but they call pass interference on the defense. It should have been offensive pass interference.
That was a heck of a shove there, was it not? Memphis now within 5. Sutton Smith, 64 yards, 12 carries, 147 on the ground for him, and that 18-point lead has indeed turned into a 1-point deficit for the Hogs. Mike Washington trying to chew up some yards a week ago. Now, we'll show you in a minute what happened a week ago. Razorback fans, you already remember. You know you're not going to want to see it again, but look at Arkansas getting themselves in position for a go-ahead score late in a game, like they did in Oxford, Mississippi. Game on the line against Ole Miss. Arkansas driving, nearing the red zone. Ball is stripped. Rebels recover, run out the clock, and Arkansas suffers a heartbreaking loss. That was 7 days ago. We wouldn't show you that if this didn't happen. Mike Washington Jr., the workhorse on that drive, gets the ball punched out from the Memphis defender.
And it's not that you don't want that to happen, but you have to understand the situation. You have to overemphasize ball security. You know they're going to play. That was Memphis' only shot was to knock the ball out. They're going to lose by a field goal.
Yep. Well, and the Hogs had a chance. Backup quarterback Arrington Maiden comes in, and I think that's why pulls the pile forward. Memphis gets Arkansas. Second straight loss.
Well, I mean, the first thing you do is you look internally. You know, I look at myself, I look at the staff and what we can do better. Are we playing as well as we can with who we have and all that stuff? And the answer is no. So we have to continue to find out what our kids can do a little bit better. And now that hadn't been any concern offensively for, the first 3 weeks. There's some stuff we obviously have to look at after the day where we can get better offensively as well. But, we haven't played great this year yet defensively, and we got to figure out why. Is there something that we can do a little bit better? We thought we had it fixed today, but for them to have 500 yards on us, we obviously didn't.
Yeah, it's Arkansas fans continue to get frustrated. You can understand why. Sam Pittman era, 7-18 in games decided by 7 points or fewer. How do you fix this? I know it's simple as hanging on to the football, but this is a sign of something.
You talked about what happened last week in Oxford. This kind of reminded me last year of the game against Oklahoma State, where you have a great first half, and then you come back and completely collapse. 3 points on offense in the entire second half, but you got a chance to put the ball game away in the fourth quarter. You're up 31-26. You got to drive heading into the end zone. You throw an interception on the 22-yard line. You would have at least got a field goal in that situation. Next drive, you get a 35-yard run down to inside the 10-yard line, and a holding call brings it back. And then you have a chance right here. Even if you're taking a knee, which I don't mind handing the football off and trusting your running back to hold on to it. Yeah, true. But you got a chance to close a ball game out. And for a program that's trying to ascend, you have to learn how to finish. And they have this. And it wasn't just the offense. Defense gives up 118 yards rushing in the fourth quarter alone. So it was an entire team collapse.
Yeah, the defense for me was, on that 64-yard run by the Memphis running back, if you watch that play, you see 3 defenders jogging after the running back. Now, you may not catch the running back, but it's your job to chase it.
Yeah.
They give up 157 yards after contact, Arkansas does to Memphis. And so what that tells me is that there's missed tackles, there's not strong tackles, people are out of alignment, out of position. And so you give it 290 yards on the ground to a team that you knew was going to run the football and then have a chance with 1:22 left to close the game out. You have to hold on to the football. I feel terrible for the young man, I do. But you see this happen over and over and over again with Arkansas, and so it comes to a point where it's, what are we doing wrong? Same thing we talked about with Florida. It's like what are we doing wrong to not emphasize in these key moments, these clutch positions where you have to take care of the football? 3 critical turnovers really did it. It was a Taylon Green interception early on that led to 7 points from Memphis, and then there was another turnover, and then that last final fumble kind of iced it for Arkansas.
They give up 1,000 yards in the last 2 weeks defensively, but they've also put up 1,000 yards plus. and so you see some good things, but just too many little things not being attended to.
Next week, by the way, Notre Dame comes in, and they scored a 56, put up 56. That Arkansas defense struggles, and you worry a little bit with Notre Dame coming in.
But I expect the offense to go toe-to-toe with them.
And that would be great.
I expect Taylor Green and this offense to go toe-to-toe.
But don't make these mistakes.
Yeah.
Right?
Against a team that's going to run the
Scored
football.
3 points in the second half, though. Let's not act like they were world beaters.
You're right about that, too. Yeah. All right. Tough one for Arkansas, no doubt, in Memphis. From Peyton Manning to his alma mater, we go to Rocky Top, Tennessee, taking on UAB. Trent Dilfer, Blazers head coach, of course, opening drive. Tennessee in the red zone. Joey Aguilar to Chris Brazzell, 19-yard touchdown pass. Next drive finds a streaking Mike Matthews in the football sense.
Love the throw here, and even better catch over the outside shoulder. Mike Matthews starting to be one of those emerging wide receivers along with Chris Brazzell.
Aguilar, 6 straight games with multiple touchdown passes. And then Deshaun Bishop. They still want to and can run the football effectively, Tennessee.
Watch this.
Whoa, what do we got? He stepped on his foot. You can't do that, Max Gill. Come on now. That's dirty. Dirty Blazers.
We see something every week in here, don't we?
How many options do we see today?
A lot of them.
You talked about the run game, though, Dari. Last year, it was Dylan Sampson. Now it's a trio of running backs in Lewis, Thomas, and Bishop combined for 29 carries, 191 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the ground.
Team went for 235.
That's a receiving touchdown.
That is a receiving touchdown.
Yep.
Star Thomas, the touchdown catch on the Aguilar shovel. Tennessee, 22 straight home wins against unranked teams. They roll. Next up, they go to Starkville to face Mississippi State, who was trying to get to 4-0 for the first time in 11 years. Second quarter, Blake Shapen, Anthony Evans. Big first down to the Northern Illinois 34. Then Shapen hands to Xavier Gayton, 12-yard run. First and goal. And then Shapen to Seydou Traore.
Little cup of tea there for the gentleman from the UK.
Mississippi State up 14-10. They really, something changed in the second half. This team caught fire, as they should have.
Oh, they definitely did. They're down 10-7 in the second quarter. You mentioned it. They scored the last 31 points in the game after falling behind early.
And the defense picked it up there in the second half as well. Gave up 10 points in the first quarter, a shutout the rest of the way.
Gave up 97 yards in the second half while gaining 304. Look at Isaac Smith, great defensive play. They are indeed 4-0. How about Vanderbilt? Vanderbilt taking on Georgia State. They're no shortage of points. There goes Diego. Diego Pavia. Look at Diego Pavia go.
Doug, don't forget, this is a team that beat Vanderbilt last year.
Yeah.
Very focused on getting some revenge.
Ran 9 times for 86 yards. Handoff there for the touchdown. Would you believe Vanderbilt on this night ran for 8 touchdowns? 8 rushing touchdowns. Pavia's solo touchdown there.
And 10 different rushers.
And 10 different.
Same as last week, 10 against South Carolina. That was a
rushing touchdown. Yeah. That's Junior Sherrill there with the rushing touchdown. More from Vanderbilt on the ground. They got guys all over the place. This is A.J. Newberry with a touchdown there. First time they've scored a touchdown in their first 4 possessions. Offensively this season, they put up a 70 spot. Hi, Mark.
70 burn on there.
His daughter goes there.
Didn't know that.
70 to, well, yeah, some people would say there's been an influx of donation because his daughter goes there. 70 points scored, most in a game for Vanderbilt in 107 years. Yeah, that's right, 107. All right, wow. That team's rolling. They got Utah State next week, folks. All right, let's go back to Oklahoma. Defensive performance of the day. A school record, 10 sacks, 14 tackles for loss. More on that in a moment. Benjamin, don't worry, we're not going to leave you hanging. After the game, Brent Venables and former OU quarterback Jackson Arnold.
I felt like our defensive line, we talked about going into the game, the non-negotiable that has to happen for us to win this game is when the storyline has to say, y'all played your butt off.
They thrived in those third and long situations. I think for us throughout the week, we emphasized being positive on first and second down, and that's just something that, some drives we did really well and some drives we didn't do well. And the drives where we did it really well, we went down and got points on the board. And the drives that we didn't, got backed up, third and extra long, they can run whatever they want and ultimately stop us.
The 10 sacks program record. Previous record, 9 against Kansas State in 1983 and tied that 4 other times, most recently against Kansas 5 years ago. They're the 4th SEC team in the last 40 seasons to rack up 10 or more sacks in a conference game. Interesting, you go back a year ago, Jackson Arnold got sacked, I think, 8 times at Ole Miss in a game where the Rebels sacked them 10 times, if I'm correct on this. This time, Oklahoma gets to Jackson Arnold 10 times. How do you describe the way this team is playing defense right now?
It's kind of like if you were to stick your hand in a beehive and you don't know where they're coming from, but you're getting stung all over your body and you don't know what to do and you can't identify one person. You look at this football team. 8 different players got involved in the sack party. It wasn't just Kip Lewis. It wasn't just R. Mason Thomas. It wasn't just Jackson. It was 8 guys total that got involved defensively. And that's just difficult for any offense to deal with, especially, as we mentioned before, you pressure Jackson Arnold on 46% of his dropbacks, and you do it out of standard rush. You use the defensive line. You don't even have to add extra rushers. So, man, this Venables defense really came to play. And that's what and you know what? They didn't even get a takeaway. Still haven't gotten a takeaway.
Had a couple chances.
-6 in the turnover margin.
I think that's still troubling. I think also the lack of the run game is still troubling as well. Some issues up front at times. But this is a team that found a way to win and didn't necessarily play its best ballgame. Now, on the flip side, I think you look at Auburn in a loss, and I feel a lot better about Auburn. You saw some explosive pass plays. You saw them getting the ball to Cam Coleman. We could talk about some of the missed calls and the officiating impact, but I saw a team that went toe-to-toe, as Coach Freese said, with a team that I expect to be in the college football playoff at the end of the year. So I as much as you hate to lose that ball game, I think Auburn's a better team than maybe I'd given them credit for.
Be a big chance to bounce back at A&M. Like, that'll be that team starting 0-2. They look like too good of a team to start 0-2, but schedule's tough. Welcome, right? This is part of the SEC, but
here's that play that was contested. Initially ruled a fumble and a scoop and score for a touchdown.
Indeed.
They go back and review it, and it ends up being an incomplete pass. I don't know that you had enough there to overrule the call.
But they did, and again, Hugh Freeze distraught. He was distraught over several calls in this game. Again, I mentioned
rightfully so.
Right. I mentioned a pass interference that wasn't called at the goal line. The official had his back to the play as he was trying to run into the end zone. There was a lot of not so great to take out of that game from an officiating standpoint. Good win for OU, and I know that Auburn's going to have a hard time.
But there is like literally nothing worse than feeling like a game slipped between your fingers because of a bad call. Like, you put so much work into it. You go on the road. And you can look at a bunch of different things why you want to lose the game. You never pin it solely on a certain call. Yeah. But to have that feeling in this level of a game, you can understand why Auburn fans and Hugh Freeze.
The most important thing is how they react next week. You talked about it. Yeah. In the SEC, you got to move on. Win or lose, you got to move on and be ready for the next
memory,
one.
Right?
Yep.
By the way, the SEC is convinced that scoop and score was an incomplete pass. That was the right call, they determined. Okay, Saturday stud. Team tackles for loss. Nice call taking Oklahoma B-Dub with the first
I took your boys. They came up with 14. I wish that this could bleed over the next week or something like that because they just dominated everybody else.
It's scary.
But good job, Oklahoma.
He was at the bottom when we started the day.
Yes, he was. Now producer Jonathan's hanging down with us all by his lonesome.
I just didn't want to come in last, y'all.
That's the most important strategy.
Back-to-back weeks last, it just didn't feel good to me.
I've got back-to-back weeks third. That doesn't feel great either.
You know, the only people that care about this are us.
Yeah, we can move on. Move on.
More highlights.
Take the bump. A plethora of great matchups in week number 5 next week, including Alabama making the trip between the hedges to take on Georgia. Last 10 meetings between these two, Alabama has won 9 of them. B-Dub, early thoughts as we start to look ahead here.
Man, that made me feel bad.
Sorry, man.
You had to bring that up. Well, I'll tell you this. The game last year was a thriller, 34-41. Alabama won that football game. Alabama has turned the corner since the Florida State football game. Ty Simpson is thrown for 7 touchdowns, completed about 90% of his passes. So the interesting matchup is going to be, how does Georgia defend against Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard? Ryan Williams had some big plays against Georgia last year. Looking forward to seeing how that defense steps up. Two teams that are coming off of big wins, Georgia playing the way they did against Tennessee last week.
Yeah, I think you're right about the matchup between the receivers and that Georgia secondary. I mean, Georgia gave up 371 yards passing last week to Tennessee. And one thing that Ty Simpson's been doing is pushing the ball down the field a little bit. So that's something I'm looking at. In addition to the mental edge, you talked about how many games that Alabama has won. They find ways to win. And that has to be, as much as we think about Georgia being a championship program, that has to be in the back of their head a little bit somewhere.
A little nugget here that our friend Witt just passed along. By the way, before we go, we were just talking about Sooners have not forced a turnover. The last team, in fact, the last 20 years, only 2 teams have started 4-0 without forcing a turnover. Coastal Carolina in 2021 and this Oklahoma team. Got to happen at some point.
At some point.
Fun week. We got many more to go, gentlemen. Thanks for watching. Final.